Tonight, a Four in Your Corner special report, an agonizing life or death decision. A young woman in Naples in such torturous pain, she begs her mother to let her die. What happened next, you have to see to believe. At age 16, Jessica was the picture of a happy, healthy Naples teenager, a big sister full of life. But all that changed with a tiny tick bite on the back of her knee. What first appeared as a rash turned into a crippling condition.
When I first got sick with the Lyme disease, once it invaded my nervous system, I lost use of both of my legs.
A light, a breeze, a whisper caused excruciating pain. Sunglasses and headphones did little to help.
I couldn't get out of the bed, I couldn't eat, I couldn't move. Every single thing in my life was pain. Any type of lights or sounds triggered a seizure.
Jessica was diagnosed with a rare, incurable neurologic condition considered the most painful known to medicine. Reflex Sympathetic Dystrophy, or RSD, causes nerves to malfunction, constantly sending pain signals to the brain, which responds by releasing powerful chemicals that burn unbearably painful sores into the skin. Her arms and abdomen were covered.
You feel like you are literally doused in gasoline, lit on fire, and being burned continuously. Nothing alleviates it.
Not even a mother's touch.
The child always comes to the mom first. You know, mommy can always make it better. You know, mommy always can fix the boo-boo. But with this illness, there is really nothing that you can do. You can't even touch them.
Desperate for answers, the family took Jessica to more than 100 doctors all over the country. Some suggested amputating her arms. Others said it was time to let her die. Jessica would eventually make that same request of her mother.
I was on a heart machine, on a breathing machine, being fed through a feeding tube, and I just asked her, please, just shut it. Just shut everything. I can't do it another second. She said, no, you know, I'm not God. I can't decide when that time is for you. And as long as there's still life in you, there's still hope, and we're going to keep fighting.
That fight took them to the RSD Treatment Center in Tampa, where Dr. Anthony Kirkpatrick suggested Jessica's last hope for survival was to become part of a research study in Monterrey, Mexico. There, Dr. Fernando Cantu would attempt a drastic experimental procedure not approved in the United States. Jessica would be put into a coma using an anesthetic and hallucinogenic drug called ketamine. They would pump more of it into her body than an American hospital uses in an entire year.
It's a really radical, risky treatment.
And that's the part that sounds scary.
Exactly. I mean, it is. You can die.
Like rebooting a computer, the coma would aim to restart her brain, but there was no guarantee.
Really, we were told she would probably die there in Mexico.
Jessica spent 7 days in an induced coma, nearly 3 times as long as allowed in the U.S.
I woke up and my lesions had vanished.
But serious complications followed.
I didn't know who I was. I had complete amnesia. I didn't recognize my mother. It was just like my whole life had been wiped out from this coma.
The nightmare didn't stop there.
And I ended up losing my eyesight. The hallucinations were terrifying.
What was expected to be only a few months of treatment in Mexico turned into years. She nearly died several times.
It was hell at the deepest level, suffering at the deepest level you can imagine.
Doctors tried again, this time using a different anesthetic drug to induce a coma. But the lesions and the pain remained. Jessica's health slipped into a free fall. Her lungs collapsed. She was dying. To save her life, Dr. Cantu would pump her full of ketamine once again, putting her into her 3rd coma in 2 years. She was in critical condition. Her battered brain and body were less likely than ever now to survive. But death was not what she feared most.
The worst thing to me would have been to go through it and wake up and still not have died, still be alive and still living in the constant same pain that I was in for all those years.
I know you're still a little bit groggy. Hi, Jess.
Jessica's mom recorded these first moments when she came to.
I love you, Jessica.
I love you too.
This time it worked. She woke up healed.
Well, you can move your legs.
She calls it her miracle coma.
God is an awesome God, isn't he, Jess?
Jessica was finally able to fly home to Naples after years of being away. The little sisters she left behind when her ordeal began are now young women.
How does it feel to be home, Wesley? Super bien.
Now 24 years old, Jessica uses a wheelchair as she transitions from years of being bedridden far from home.
It was psychological warfare. I feel like for 6 years my mom and I were prisoners of war.
Now she has a message for others imprisoned by the terrifying condition.
Don't give up. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. I promise you that. And I'm living proof of that because I shouldn't be here right now. And I am.
Jessica is pushing for the ketamine coma procedure to be approved here in the U.S. And tomorrow night, she gets a rare chance to make her case to someone who lives in the White House. She's going to be a special guest of First Lady Michelle Obama as she visits Naples. You can find out more about RSD, also known as Complex Regional Pain Syndrome, right now on fox4now.com.